Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Secret Powers of Swami Vivekananda, Football, Sunil Chitri, Sadhguru Adiyogi. Anyways, I have no idea what the rest of them are. I just wanted to listen to the Secret Powers of Swami Vivekananda. Anyways, I'm not too sure what it's about. Let's go and get started.
Vivekananda said, "You ask me anything about the book, I'll tell you." Okay, in page 633, what is there? Verbatim, Vivekananda repeats. You ask any page, just number the page, he will tell you what is there word by word on every page. Then he asked, "How is this? You didn't even open the book. How is this possible?" He said, "That's why they call me Vivekananda."
There are so many kids over here, and one of the questions that I thought of asking you, sir, is the same question that I asked my teacher. When I was young, one of my economics teacher asked me, "Why do you keep wasting your time playing on the football pitch? And you're not on time for
I was just about to ask, why were you wasting your time in the economic class?
So that's exactly what I did. So then I spoke to her, I said, "Ma'am, I want to become a footballer." And that's why I was there, and I apologize that I'm late. Then of course she said me things that I can't say right now. And then she complained to the class teacher that there is one guy who has lost his mind. Make sure you tighten him. So the class teacher came to me and she's like, "What were you doing? What were you thinking?" So I told her, I actually want to be a footballer, and there's only one class which is called PT class for 2 periods in the whole week. There are kids who want to be in an IIT, a doctor, whatever. They got 8-10 classes every week to encourage them. But I only had one, that too with white shorts and white t-shirt, PT. There was no football class.
And you're not supposed to dirty those white shorts.
Yeah. That was the instruction from home, but I never listened. I was always dirty. But then I told her, then my chances of becoming are so dim. Because there's no practical what I do on the pitch. Nobody comes and tells me, you know what, this is what you did, and this is what you're going to do. Of course, like my economics teacher, my class teacher said, "Shut up. Think about what other kids are doing." So then I realized that it's not, I'm not going to get helped. And now when I meet kids from different schools, they have the same issue. They have the same issue that sports-wise, we aren't teaching them more. And I think, and I believe, I may be wrong, nothing else can teach you to be a better person than sports. This is what I believe. I may be wrong. Like the way I'm talking to myself.
Well, I mean, it teach you teamwork and how to cooperate and work with others.
But anything that good happened in my life is only because of sports. And I'm not even talking about all the accolades or stuff I've got. It has made me a better person. And then I realized, why couldn't we inculcate that in school? Why couldn't we teach them?
How bad were you before this?
Okay. No, but that's true. And you know, I wasn't thinking of what I'm going to do. And I was one of the kids where the parents are fighting. It's your mistake. No, it's your mistake. It's because of you. No, it's because of you. And then suddenly, because of sports, everything changed. So everything changed. Only football made sure that I left everything and not think about anything else. So whenever there was football, it was all me there, thinking, concentrating, trying to become my better self. Rest. Let's not talk about that.
Let me see if I can answer his question. I'm just kind of curious in what you guys think about it. Let's say sports is not for everyone, so obviously sports is not going to work for everyone. Obviously, I think the teamwork aspect of sports can be incorporated into other classes, and I think that's a great thing. Interaction, working in cooperation. But other than that, I think that's about it. Sports is not going to work for everyone, but it kind of sucks from his perspective, or from his scenario that you know, when he wants to be a serious football player, but he can't because there's no real class for that, or kind of like I guess in the United States, if you want to be American football player or baseball player or whatever, there are colleges that most serious colleges kind of have their own football team, and from there you can play in an actual real team. Then right after college you can get drafted into the the professional league and make lots of money. But not everyone gets drafted. There's only a limited number of people that they draft, so you cannot depend on one using that as a way to make money, and two, not everyone is very sports capable. but a lot of the aspects can be incorporated into other things that are very grateful, like sports cooperation and working together as a team.
No, the best thing about sport is, I think we have to acknowledge, because it was 2 days ago that it was the 125th anniversary of Vivekananda speaking in Chicago.
I wonder what he said.
Well, most people would have not noticed this aspect of him. He said one thing. He said, "You are closer to the divine in kicking a ball than in prayer."
That made me happy.
Because you can pray without involvement. You can go to school without involvement. You can work without involvement. You can even get married without involvement. Yes, but you cannot play a game without involvement. And the essence of life is only in involvement. Without involvement, there is no life. How profound is your involvement will determine how profound is your experience of life. The question is not in what. Well, you found that involvement in sport, but it doesn't matter what. If somebody finds absolute involvement in something, they will know life in a certain way, which others will completely miss. Human ability to perceive is far beyond just understanding the words. Right now I'm speaking. Your ability to perceive is actually far beyond just the words that you hear. But because the mind is trained right now not only to hear and record, desperately trying to remember, note down, some of you, the hands are itching. Something that you think is valuable has to be written down. But human perception goes far beyond this. Recently I was just 4 days ago, I was in discussion with one of the top-level environmental scientists in this country, and we were just talking about it. Across the dinner, we were just discussing so many things. So he asked, "Sadhguru, what are the books that you read?" I said, "I read Asterix and Dennis the Menace, that's my reading." I don't get to read anything because all the time I'm traveling, if I read a newspaper, that's a big deal. "Then where do you get all the information?" I said, "I'm picking it off you. You did all the study, why should I go through it again? I don't open all those books. You're sitting here and I'm picking all the things and I'm talking about it. But where do you get all the technical words?" I said, "Don't you have it in your brain right now? I can pick it off you, whatever I want. I won't go about studying all that nonsense because anyway, the jargon doesn't mean anything to me." Because human perception is way beyond that. That's why I'm going on telling you, just be with me, just be with me. If you can simply be with me, your ability to perceive this is far more than writing down every word of what is said. If you have all these words, you still won't know anything. Actually, shall I tell you the secret? Buy yourself an Oxford dictionary. Everything that I say is already there. No? You just have to arrange it. It doesn't get you anywhere that way. So to enhance perception is very important because only what you perceive you know. Rest is all stories and imagination, isn't it? What you perceive and you experientially know, that's all you know. Rest are just empty stories. It doesn't matter how great the story is, it is still an empty story which won't make a difference in your life. If it has to make a difference in your life, there must be an experiential dimension to it. That will happen only if you perceive. You heard of Vivekananda? He's the first yogi who came to this country in 1893 and made a little bit of waves in those days. So he also went to Europe on his way back from United States and happened to be a guest of a German philosopher. After dinner, they met in the study, and they were discussing this and that, and there was a large book on his table, which was over 700 pages. So Vivekananda said, because the man was speaking very highly about the book, he said, "Can you give me that book for an hour? Let me see what is there in it." That man laughed. He said, "In 1 hour you're going to read this book? I have been reading it for weeks and not getting anywhere because it's so complex. And that too, it's in German language. You don't even know the language. What will you do with it in an hour?" Vivekananda said, "You give it to me for an hour, let me see." So the book was given to him. He took the book and placed it between his 2 hands and just sat there with his eyes closed. After 1 hour, he took the book and gave it to him and said, "This doesn't have anything significant in it." That man thought, this is the peak of arrogance. You don't even open the book and you make a comment about the book, a book which is in a language that you do not know. So he was a little put off by this and he says, "What is this nonsense?"
I definitely have to look this story up. I definitely have to look that story up.
Vivekananda said, "You ask me anything about the book, I'll tell you." Okay, in page 633, what is there? Verbatim, Vivekananda repeats. You ask any page, just number the page, he will tell you what is there word by word on every page. Then he asked, "How is this? You didn't even open the book. How is this possible?" He said, "That's why they call me Vivekananda." Viveka means perception. His name is Narendra. His guru called him Vivekananda because of his ability to perceive. So he said, "That's why I'm called Vivekananda." So perception of life is not… you cannot all process it through your logical mind. It doesn't work like that because logic will filter out so much of your life without which you cannot live.
I definitely have to go look that story up. So, Vivekananda. So it's perception bliss? Is that the definition of his name? Because I think, was it Ananda is bliss, and like Swami Sarvapriyananda, well, Tadatmananda. I've never understood the first portions of the name and how do you get those names. But is that the secret powers of Swami Vivekananda? Is the ability to perceive, have such a large perception that he's able to understand things at a much, I won't say deeper level, but comprehend, perceive things differently from everyone else. That's the only way the best way I can describe it. Anyways, I definitely gotta check out that story. I'm gonna look it up after this. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.